Hi students, welcome back. Today we are going to cover lessons 2.1 and 2.2, dividing by one digit. Please take a minute to review the scale and write down your learning target in your notebook. By the end of this lesson, we want you to be at a level 3, being able to solve long division problems to find a quotient. Let's take a look at placing the first digit. Miss Turner is baking 9 cupcakes for a Halloween party. She has a bag of 342 pieces of candy corn that she uses to decorate them. If each cupcake gets an equal amount of candy corn pieces, how many pieces does each cupcake get? So let's take a look at what we're going to do first. We know that we have 9 cupcakes. We're using cubes. 342 pieces, and we know that we want to find out how many pieces does each cupcake get. The next thing we want to do is we want to box our clue words. Okay, there's nothing important in the first sentence other than our 9 cupcakes. We know that she's going to a Halloween party, but that's not going to help us solve our problem. We know that she has 32 pieces of candy corn, and our clue word here is each. That tells us that we're possibly going to be doing division. And we know that we have equal amount, and we have how many pieces each cupcake gets. So if we have each and we have equal amount, those are keywords that tell us that this is going to be a long division problem. So now let's go ahead and solve. We have 342 divided by 9. And if you don't remember how to do an estimate, this would be a good question to put in your notebook to ask your teacher. So the first thing we're going to ask ourselves is, how many times does 9 go into 3? Well, we can't have 9 cupcakes and divide it among 3 parts. So then we're going to look over here in the tens place, and we're going to say, how many times does 9 go into 34? 9 goes into 34 3 times. 9 times 3 is 27. We're going to subtract, and we can't do 4 minus 7, so we're going to regroup a 1 10 and make this a 2. And then we need to bring down our 0, so we will have 2 minus 0 is 2. 14 minus 7 is 7, and 2 minus 2 is 0. Now we're going to ask ourselves, how many times does 9 go into 72? 9 times what is 72? Remember, division and multiplication are inverse operations. So 9 times 8 equals 72. And we're going to subtract, and we're going to get 0, so we don't have a remainder, and we find out that Miss Turner is going to need 38 pieces of candy corn on each one of her cupcakes if she divides them out equally. Now let's go ahead and check to see if we got our answer correct. Because multiplication and division are inverse operations, we can work backwards to see if we got the right answer. So we're going to start with our answer of 38 pieces of candy. We're going to multiply by 9 cupcakes, and we should get a product, or our answer, of 342. So 8 times 9 is 72. We're going to place our 2, regroup our 7 to the tens. 9 times 3 is 27, plus 7 more is 34. 342 pieces of candy corn, and this tells us that we got the right answer. Now let's do a division problem together. Lucy, Diana, Ella, and Khalees are selling 1,216 lollipops for a school fundraiser. If each girl sells an equal amount of lollipops, how many lollipops does each girl sell? What would be a reasonable estimate for the amount that each girl sold? So the first thing we need to do is we need to use cubes. We have 1,216 lollipops. And we know that we have each girl selling an equal amount of these lollipops, how many lollipops does each girl sell? And that's our question. How many lollipops does each girl sell? Let's see how many girls we have. We have 1, 2, 3, 4 girls. Okay, so now that we've done our cubes, we are ready to solve the problem. So we have 1,216 lollipops divided by the 4 girls. The first thing we're going to ask ourselves is 4 can go into 1, and the answer is no. We can't have 4 girls and divide the lollipops by 1. So we're going to next ask ourselves, how many times does 4 go into 12? 4 goes into 12 3 times. 4 times 3 equals 12. And we're going to subtract, and we're going to get 0, and we're going to bring down our 1. 4 goes into 1 0 times. 4 times 0 equals 0, and 6 minus 0 equals 6. So now we're going to subtract, and 6 minus 0 is 6. 1 minus 0 is 1. Now we're going to ask ourselves, how many times does 4 go into 16? Remember, 4 times what is 16? And the answer is 4. 4 times 4 equals 16. And 16 minus 16 is equal to 0. So we don't have any remainder. Each girl is going to sell 304 lollipops. Okay, now let's go ahead and check our work. Remember that multiplication and division are inverse operations. So if we have 304 and we multiply it by the 4 girls, we should be able to get 1,216 lollipops as our answer. So let's start over in the ones place. 4 times 4 is 16. Regroup our 1. 4 times 0 is 0, plus 1 more is 1. And 3 times 4 is equal to 12. So 1,216 lollipops, and we have received our correct answer. Okay, now let's move on to the you do question, dividing by 1 digit. Go ahead and read the question, pause the video, and then we'll check our answer. And we're back. The CCA football team is traveling for an away game. If they travel 2,430 miles to Texas over the course of 3 days, estimate about how many miles will they travel each day. Then we want to solve to find the exact amount of miles that they will travel each day. And then lastly, we're going to check our work using multiplication. Okay, so the first thing we could have done is estimated that we have about 2,000 miles to cover. And we're going to divide that out over the course of 3 days. So in order to estimate, you would need to divide 2,000 by 3, okay, in order to arrive at your answer. Because that is a review skill, if you don't understand how to do that, please write this down in your ask so that you can ask your teacher how to solve the estimate. Move on to solving the actual number. So we know we have 2,430 miles divided by 3 days. And we're going to first ask ourselves, how many times does 3 go into 24? Because we know 3 cannot go into 2. So 3 goes into 24 8 times. 3 times 8 is 24. We're going to bring down our 3, and we're going to subtract. 24 minus 24 is 0. And then 3 minus 0 is 3. 3 goes into 3 1 time. 3 times 1 equals 3. And we're going to bring down our 0. And we're going to subtract. And 30 minus 30 equals 0. So 3 goes into 0. 0 times 3 times 0 is 0. 0 minus 0 equals 0. So we come up with an exact amount of 810 miles each day. That's how many miles they're going to travel each day. So now let's go ahead and check our work using multiplication. So the answer that we want to arrive at is 2,430. So if we check, we're going to multiply 810 times 3, and we should arrive at this 2,430. 0 times 3 equals 0. 3 times 1 equals 3. And 8 times 3 equals 24. So we have 2,430 miles, and we know that we got our answer correct. Now let's go on to the last you do. Go ahead and read the question and pause the video. Okay, let's see how we solved this question. We know that Jacob and Alex put 2,366 pounds of candy into 6-pound bags. We want to know how many full bags of candy will they get? How many full bags? Notice this word full. So we have 2,366 divided by 6. If we were estimating, we would have about 2,000 pounds of candy divided 6 ways. Once again, estimating for division is a review skill, so if you don't understand how to do that, please write that down in your ask. So next we're going to say, how many times does 6 go into 23? 6 goes into 23 3 times. 6 times 3 equals 18. 23 minus 18 is 5, because we had to regroup. And we're going to bring down our 6. 6 goes into 56 9 times. 6 times 9 equals 54. And we're going to bring down our 6. Okay, so now we have 6 minus 4 equals 2. And 6 minus 0 equals 6. And then we're going to ask ourselves, how many times does 6 go into 26? 6 goes into 26 4 times. 6 times 4 equals 24. So 26 minus 24 is going to give us a remainder of 2. So if we are looking for the amount of full bags, we're going to have 394 full bags. And then you can check your work using multiplication by multiplying 394 times 6, and you're going to get, do 394 times 6, you will get 2,364, and you notice that here it says 66, that is your remainder of 2. The 2 that are missing to make the 66 is your remainder, but we were asking for the full bags. So we know that we got that question correct. Take a minute to review the final scale and record where you are in your notebook. We will see you next time on DocFlix.